Hi guys, good afternoon. How are you all? And as usual, give me a minute so that I can just see I'm live. That's great. Okay, yeah, I am live, guys. So I welcome all of you, and I hope that there is no doubt till now. If there is, then simply let me know on Telegram or on Unacademy Messenger or simply in the live chat. Okay, just let me know if you have any doubt, and we will get it sorted. All right. So yeah, as you guys know that this is Unacademy, ISC and ICSE boards, right? And we are going to rock together. We are going to crack it. And come on, let's move ahead. Let's see what we have today. You know already my brief introduction. I am your chemistry educator, Kirti Sharma, and I have done my graduation from University of Delhi, and it's that too in psychology. Yes, you heard it right. I have completed my graduation from University of Delhi in psychology. Okay, and now I'm your chemistry educator. So, yeah, I have taught a lot of cute and smart students like you as usual. And now we are going to begin the session. So, what are we going to learn today? What are we going to do today? So, you guys already know that we have been doing thermodynamics. क्या कर रहे हैं हम अभी? We have been dealing with thermodynamics. Correct? We discussed the basic stuff, we discussed the type of processes, right? Everything. So today we are we will accelerate our discussion. Correct? So let's move ahead, and you can follow Unacademy Champions on Telegram. The link is given to you in the description box. Once you just simply tap on it, you will just land on the Telegram group. Okay, guys. So like the small target we have for the beginning, that is of 1,000 subscribers, and I can see that it is 413 right now. So I guess that this will approach to 1,001K subscribers in a very short duration of time, because you love us, guys, right? And we love you, of course. Okay, so I believe that it will be done in a very short duration of time. Okay, and before starting, let me tell you that there is an offer which is going on these days, and that offer is, if you get the subscription for a minimum of 12 months. Okay, if you get the subscription for 12 months, then you will get extra 3 months subscription. So basically you will get 15 months of subscription, and this offer is only valid till 31st of January, and again it is only valid for first 500 subscribers. So make sure you are in that list. Okay, and already one more deal. See, this is the first deal which is going on. The second deal is this, which is you already know that the new batches of class 11 and for class 12, it's Mavericks, right? The name of the batch is Mavericks. It is an all subject batch, and the mode of delivery is going to be in English. Correct? As you can see, and there is this important deal which says that if you get the subscription for ISC class 12, you for sorry, my bad, if you get the subscription for ISC class 11, you will get a free subscription for class 12. Okay, so this way it will be very beneficial for you, right? And again, you can use this one which we saw in the previous slide, that if you get the subscription for 12 months, you will get an extra subscription for 3 months. So basically you will get 15 months. So when you club these offer along with, like, you can also use my code, that is Kirti S Live. My code is Kirti S Live, and once you use this code, you will be able to get flat 10% off on the Unacademy Plus subscription. Okay, so this seems amazing. Take part in it, and it's amazing, right? Let's move ahead. You know already, this is Maverick's batch for class 11, and again, if you get the subscription for class 11, you will get class 12 subscription for absolutely free. So this is something amazing which we have for you, right? So yeah, great. Then let's get started with thermodynamics. Let's get started with thermodynamics, correct? So here you can see what we started with. We discussed the meaning of thermodynamics, right? We discussed the scope of the thermodynamics, limitations of thermodynamics. We discussed the basic terms such as system, surrounding, and the types of systems, the boundaries, and how do they work, right? We discussed a lot of, real life applications, correct? So that like you can relate how are we using these things in our daily life, right? You can see here the classification of systems. We did open system, closed system, and in the end we did isolated system. Then I made you understand what is macroscopic system. Then I told you that because of the bulk of the behavior, like because of bulk of particles, some properties are generated which are called as macroscopic properties, right? Now, those macroscopic properties can be divided into two types of properties, that is extensive and intensive. What is this? It is extensive and intensive properties. Say yeah. And give me a moment, I'll just come back in a second. Let me get my yes, so I am back. Let's get started again with this. I hope all set, all good. Yes, now it's okay. All right. So we discussed extensive properties, we discussed intensive properties, right? We discussed that extensive properties कौन से होते हैं? Those who depend on mass, and intensive properties are the one who are independent of mass, or you can say they do not depend on the quantity of the matter. Is that okay? If you want to watch it like in the whole, like how can you predict whether a property will be extensive or it will be intensive, so you can just simply do that by watching the previous session, because we did this in detail. Okay, absolutely in detail we discussed this, so you can watch the previous session. Okay, then like I made you understand in the previous class, right? You can see here what we discussed. As you can see here, we discussed state functions, path functions, right? Like whenever you want to go from a state A to state B, there are some properties which depends on the path, right? कि आपने लेट्स से कोई वर्क किया, तो आपने उसके लिए क्या पाथ लिया, हाउ डिड यू डू इट. ओके, so some properties are path functions, the other are state functions. What are state functions? Those who only depend on the initial state of the system and on the final state of the system, कि पहले कैसा था और बाद में कैसा है, सिर्फ और सिर्फ इस बात पे वो डिपेंड करते हैं. Just like pressure, temperature, volume, these are what kind of properties? These are state functions. And path functions, please remember that for you, the path functions that we are going to discuss. First is work, second one is heat, and third you can see heat capacities. Okay, molar heat capacity, all kind of heat capacities. Is that clear? We did this in the previous session. Then we discussed what is meant by thermodynamic equilibrium, that is when your mechanical forces like mechanical equilibrium में क्या होता है, your net force on the system is zero. Your net force on the system is simply zero. In case of chemical equilibrium, what happens? You know that the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. That's when you say that your chemical equilibrium has been established, right? And the third one is thermal equilibrium. What happens in case of thermal equilibrium? That there is no temperature gradient. Temperature does not change. Temperature does not vary. So that's when you say that it is your thermal equilibrium. So when all of the things are together, you say that your system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. All right. Next, we discussed the Zeroth Law of Thermodynamics. That is like if you have a system A and if you have a system B. If I tell you that these two systems, system A and system B, they are in thermal equilibrium, A and B and C are also in thermal equilibrium. So what can you say? That these A and C will also be in thermal equilibrium, correct? That's what can you say. All right, I believe that there is no doubt in this. बहुत ही basic सी बात है, right? Nothing to worry about, nothing to brag about. Very easy this is. जैसे आप बचपन में पढ़ते थे ना, that you have studied in childhood, that line A is parallel to B, B line is parallel to C. So what can you say? That the lines A and C are also parallel. So in this similar manner, that's what you can say, correct? Then you did that A, simply your explanation of Zeroth Law of Thermodynamics. A and B are in thermal equilibrium, B and C systems are in thermal equilibrium. So you can say that A and C will also be in a state of thermal equilibrium. Okay, I believe that there is no doubt till now. Okay, yeah, okay. So you can say that temperature of A is equal to temperature of B is equal to temperature of C. That's what, because that's what you mean by thermal equilibrium, right? That when you say that system A and system B, they are in thermal equilibrium. So basically you mean that temperature of A is equal to temperature of B. When you say that system B and C are in thermal equilibrium, you mean that temperature of B is equal to temperature of C. And when you say, like, finally you decide, like, you concluded that system A and system C are in thermal equilibrium, so you will say that temperature of A is equal to temperature of C. Okay, I believe that there is no doubt till now. Okay, nextly what we did, that temperature is an abstract quantity, that is temperature cannot be measured directly. Okay, so like somebody told me, ma'am, thermometer. So thermometer does not measure temperature, it simply measures, like, higher the temperature, the volume of the mercury will rise higher, right? So in short, what do you mean? What did you say that volume of mercury is directly proportional to temperature. तो अपने mercury के through you tried to measure the temperature. Okay, कि if the temperature rises more, then it is your like higher temperature, because we know that volume of mercury is directly proportional to temperature. Okay, I believe that there is no doubt till now. After this we did thermodynamic processes. In case of an we did 4 types of processes. Okay, we will do our further discussion now. See, in case of a isothermal process, the very first thing is that we already know the meaning of iso is same, and the word therm is related to temperature, thermodynamics, thermometer, right? You have been doing what? You deal with heat and temperature. So isothermal, you say it when your temperature does not change. Your temperature is constant throughout the process. If you started at a temperature T, your process also ends at that temperature T. So you say that there is no change in temperature. You say that there is not even a small change in temperature. So that's why you did that dt is equal to 0. Okay, that's what you did. Then we did isobaric process. So we know that again iso means same and bar is a unit of pressure. So what can you say? You can say that isobaric process will be of the one where the process proceeds with constant pressure. There is no change in temperature. There is not even a small change in pressure, not temperature, it's pressure, right? Isobaric. So you say that dp is equal to 0. In case of isochoric process, you say that throughout the volume is constant. So a process which is at constant volume, it is called as isochoric process, where dV is equal to 0. And when it comes to adiabatic processes, we say that there is no heat exchange. Then I told you that temperature is represented by T, pressure by P, volume by V, and heat ko we represent by Q. So you say when there is no heat exchange, there is no not even a small change in heat. Okay, जितनी भी आपने हीट देनी थी उतनी ही है सिस्टम के पास. So you say that dq is equal to 0 in that case. Okay, then I told you about polytropic processes, right? These are what? These are polytropic processes. The general equation for polytropic processes is PV raised to power n is a constant. So for all these 4 types of processes, we discussed the value of n, right? We discussed the value of n. See, if you want to talk about say let me change the color. Say isothermal process. I also wrote the value of n somewhere. I don't know why I remember this. Maybe I did this in some other class. Okay, so when it comes to isothermal process, we said that PV raised to power n is constant, and of course we know when temperature is constant, according to Boyle's law as well, you say that PV is equal to constant. That is why we said now the name of the graph, the name of the curve is isothermal, because it is drawn at constant temperature. Do you remember it? So that is why n is equal to, let's change the color. You will say that n is equal to 1 for isothermal processes. When you talk about isobaric processes, that is when your pressure is constant. So what do you need to do? When n will be equal to 0, so it will simply be PV raised to power 0 will be constant. and anything raised to power 0 is simply 1. So you can say here that pressure is constant, and pressure constant कब होता है? बताइए. When is pressure constant? In case of isobaric processes. So this value of n will be equal to 0 for isobaric processes. When it comes to isochoric processes, you can see that your volume will be constant if your n approaches to infinity, right? So for isochoric process, when your volume is constant, n will be equal to infinity. And for adiabatic processes, this is something new for you. For adiabatic processes, you say that this value of n is equal to some gamma. Now you'll be like, what is this gamma? So we will study that. You just remember for now that in case of adiabatic processes, PV raised to power gamma is constant. Okay. So you can see here we discussed these graphs, okay, for isobaric, isochoric, isothermal and adiabatic. Okay. I believe that there is no doubt till now. Okay. We did till adiabatic processes, correct? Now if I start with cyclic processes. Now if I start with, let me adjust a little. If I talk to you about cyclic processes. Cyclic processes. Now what is a cyclic process? Say if I tell you that you started from a point A, okay, where your state was like the states were PA, VA, TA like this, okay? Then you moved to a point B, okay? Suppose you moved to a point B where your pressure is PB, temperature is TB, volume is VB, okay? Then you moved to a different state. Not as in Tamil Nadu or Maharashtra, not in this way. Like your states are different. Here your state is say PC, VC, TC in this manner. Then you moved from C to D. Okay, then you moved from C to D. First A to B, then B to C, then C to D. And ultimately, you went back on A. Ultimately, आप वहीं पे चले गए जहाँ से आपने शुरू किया था. You ended where you started from. Okay, so these are your cyclic processes. These are your cyclic processes. All right, I believe that there is no doubt till now. Okay, so you can say that when a system goes a number of different processes, and ultimately what happens, and you can say that ultimately it finally returns to its initial state. जैसे वो शुरुआत में था, जैसे वो अपने इनिशियल स्टेट में था, वैसे ही वापस आ गया and returns to its initial state. You call it as simply cyclic processes. Okay, and for cyclic processes, your internal energy, we will discuss again as well what is meant by internal energy. Your delta U is equal to 0, internal energy, change in internal energy. What is this? You can write here that this is your change in internal energy. Although I told you what is internal energy in the previous session, but we will discuss it today as well. Okay, So yeah, you can see, and returns to its initial state. You say that delta U is equal to 0, and the change in enthalpy of the system is also 0. Delta H is equal to 0. Okay, in case of cyclic processes. So what we did till now, we discussed isothermal process, isobaric, isochoric, adiabatic processes, and fifth one we discussed your cyclic processes. Okay, now if I tell you about number 6 process, जो कि हमारे बहुत काम का होगा, that is number 6 is irreversible process. What kind of process? This is your irreversible process. Just give me a moment. Red. If we want to talk about irreversible process, irreversible processes. So what happens in case of a irreversible process? Say if I tell you that here you have pressure, here you have volume, okay? From here, say you started, okay? Say you started from here, a point A, okay? When your pressure is PA, volume is VA, okay? And if I tell you that you ended here, a point B, where your pressure is PB, volume is VB. So you can also represent it by this, like this. Okay? You can do that. No issues. So what happens in case of an irreversible process? आप A से B एक बार चले गए, then you cannot move back from B to A. Then you cannot move back from B to A. Is that clear, guys? That's what happens in case of irreversible process. Okay? And it happens in a single step. You can say that when the process occurs, you can say that when the process occurs from initial to final state, when the process occurs from initial to final state, from initial to final state in a single step, and in finite time, in a single step and in finite time, and it cannot be reversed, as I told you कि आप A से B चले गए, but you cannot move back from B to A, okay? And in finite time, and it cannot be reversed. That is why again it is an irreversible process, okay? And it cannot be reversed. In that case, you call it, what do you call it? You simply call it as irreversible process, okay? You can understand it in a manner, suppose you have a cylinder here, okay? Suppose you have a cylinder here, and here like gaseous particles are inside, okay? And if I tell you that here we have a piston arrangement, suppose यहाँ पे कैसे ना piston लगी हुई है, ठीक है? Suppose यहाँ पे कैसे piston लगी हुई है, आप उसको you can you can just go down, okay? Now if I tell you to put a heavy brick on this, कि इसके ऊपर ना कैसे heavy bricks रख दो, इसके ऊपर heavy bricks रख दो एक बार में, ठीक है? So your driving force, which kind of force is this? This is your driving force, ठीक है? when you will try to compress the gases, then the gases will oppose it, and so this will be your opposing force. This will be your opposing force. Correct? So when your driving force is very greater than opposing force in case of irreversible reaction, आप क्या कह सकते हो? Your driving force is very much greater than the opposing force. That's what you can say regarding an irreversible process. All right, that your driving force is greater than your opposing force. Cool. That's what you can say. What else in case of an irreversible process is that you cannot make a graph. Q? Because you just have an initial point and you have a final point. Okay, so you cannot draw graph. Graph cannot be made for this. Graph cannot be made in case of an irreversible process. Okay? This is your pressure PA, this is your pressure PB, this is your volume VA, and this is your volume VB, correct? So that's what you know in case of an irreversible process. Okay? And what you will say that in case of an irreversible process, system and surrounding, let me write here, you can say that system and surrounding are in equilibrium only at initial, like only at the initial stage, state and final state. बीच में equilibrium नहीं होता. When the process is going on, the system and surroundings are not in equilibrium. ठीक है? I believe that this is clear. Let me know, guys, if you have any doubt, and then we will move ahead. Cool. I believe that there is no doubt till now. Okay. All right. Now we will talk about reversible process. That's your sixth kind of process, right? Now we will talk about a reversible process. Okay, now this is your reversible process. Now in this case, what happens, like in the previous example, we took the example, say you have a cylinder, you have a gas in it, right? And you directly put some brick on the piston, right? आपने बहुत एक heavy mass रख दिया piston के ऊपर, and what happened because of it? What happened because of it? That your process was, you can say, like it happened in a single step, correct? But here, if you put like small, very small particles of brick one by one, so I will say that जो आपका driving force है, वो आपके ऑपोजिंग फोर्स से थोड़ा सा बड़ा है. ओके, वो आपके अपोजिंग फोर्स से बिल्कुल थोड़ा सा ही बड़ा है. इट इज जस्ट इनफाइनिटेसिमली greater than the opposing force. That's what you can say in case of a reversible process. And moreover, please, like it is an ideal process. Reversible process जो होता है, it is an ideal process. And again, we live in a real world. That is, this process is hypothetical. Okay. And for this process, that is your reversible process, of course you can make graph, because you have, like आपको हर point पे pressure and volume की value पता है. So that is why you can plot the graph. Okay. Graph can be plot. Graph can be plot. Okay. So what else can you say in case of your reversible process? You can say that this process happens infinitesimally, like your process is very slow. This process is very slow process. This is very, let me change it. It is a very slow process. That's what you can say. And again, as I told you, the driving force is just थोड़ा सा बड़ा than your opposing force. ठीक है? So you can say that it is said to be a reversible process in this case. Okay. So you can write that driving force. You can say that your driving force is, it is just infinitesimally greater. बिल्कुल थोड़ा सा बड़ा. Infinitesimally greater than opposing force, than your opposing force. All right. So that's when you say that it is a reversible process. And in case of irreversible process, you say that your system and your surrounding are always almost in equilibrium. They are always almost, they, system and surroundings are almost always in equilibrium. हमेशा almost equilibrium में होते हैं system and surroundings. So you say that your system and surroundings are almost always in equilibrium. That's what you can say in case of a reversible process. Clear, guys? It is an ideal process. Graph can be plot. It is a very slow process. Your driving force is infinitesimally greater than the opposing force. थोड़ा सा ही बड़ा होता है. And your system and surroundings are almost always in equilibrium. So you will say that pressure of the gas is approximately equal to the external pressure. ठीक है? And when you plot a graph, say between pressure and volume, so you started from A and then B. So say if your graph comes out to be like this, it may come out to be like this. All right. So that is your reversible process. What is this? This is your reversible process. Okay. I believe that there is no doubt till now. Okay. So we discussed a lot of processes, types of processes, thermodynamic processes, isothermal, isobaric, isochoric, adiabatic, and cyclic processes, irreversible processes, and reversible process. Okay. So these are the types of processes which happens like in thermodynamics. Okay. Let me know if there is any doubt, guys. We will get it sorted. All right. We'll get it sorted. So we have done this. That's nice. Alright, and you know already that if you subscribe for ISC Class 11, you will get ISC Class 12 subscription for free. And the deal is that if you subscribe for Class 9, then you will get Class 10, 11 and 12 subscription for free. Okay. If you subscribe for Class 10, you will get Class 11 and 12 subscription for free. And if you subscribe for Class 11, you will get Class 12 subscription for free. Okay, you will get Class 12 subscription for free. So you can take benefit from these deals, and you know already that the another deal is if you subscribe for 12 months, you will get extra 3 months free, and this is only valid till 31st of January. It is only valid till 31st of January. Alright, and you already know that this is my code here, which is Kirti S Live. This is my code, Kirti S Live. Kirti S Live. This is my YouTube code. You can use it if you want to take plus subscription. So you will get additional like flat 10% off you will get. And if you want to unlock the free live class, you can do it with the same code, that is Kirti S Live. So like wherever on the app it has been asked to you to enter a code, then you can just simply type Kirti S Live, and the class will be unlocked, or you will get an additional 10% off. Okay, so that's how it works. Cool guys, I believe that there is no doubt till now. Let's move on to the previous so here we were, correct? We discussed extensive and intensive property. Let's look here. So you know that let's look at the state of the system, although we have already discussed it. So you can see that the system must be described in order to make any useful calculations by specifying quantitatively each of the properties such as pressure, temperature, volume, right? जिनको अभी हमने as extensive या intensive बताया था. Okay, so we need to describe the system by specifying it before and after the change. Like before change the volume was V1, after the change the volume was V2. So in this case you can okay, so in this manner, in this way you can describe your system. Next, the state of a thermodynamic system is described by its measurable और मैक्रोस्कोपिक बल्क प्रॉपर्टीज, जो अभी हम ऑलरेडी देख चुके हैं. I have already discussed these terms with you. Okay, so we can describe the state of a gas by quoting its pressure, volume, temperature, or you can say amount, that is number of moles of the gas. Okay, so you can say that variables like PVT means pressure, volume, temperature are called as state variables or state functions. We already discussed now state functions and path functions in the previous session. So it is the same thing. I made you understand by myself, and here I have proper proper notes for you as well. So yeah, Because their values depend only on the state of the system. We discussed na state functions, state of the system, and not on how it is reached. That is, they do not depend on path पे depend नहीं करते. Okay, in order to completely define the state of a system, it is not necessary to define all the properties of the system, as only a certain number of properties can be varied independently. So this is something which we have already done, right? Which we have already discussed. It was just for the sake so that you will have proper notes as well. Cool, guys? I believe that there is no doubt till now. All right. So yeah, the next thing which we need to discuss is, now you can see everything, I believe, correct? So like the next thing is internal energy as a state function. So I told you this, we have already discussed that first of all, you define internal energy by U. जैसे हमने देखा ना, प्रेशर को P से डिनोट करते हैं, टेम्परेचर को T से डिनोट करते हैं, हीट को Q से डिनोट करते हैं. सिमिलरली इंटरनल एनर्जी को हम लोग किससे डिनोट करते हैं बच्चे? U से डिनोट करते हैं. We denote it by U. All right. And again, it is a state function, that is, it only depends on the initial and final state of the system. Only depends on initial and final state of the system. Okay? Now, I already told you what is internal energy. So I can say that every system have some quantity of matter, right? And उस matter के पास, उन particles के पास, there is some I would say definite energy, definite amount of energy which is associated with it. That is why it is said that it is their internal energy. उसकी खुद की energy है, ठीक है, matter की वजह से. So again, which kind of property it will be? I told you that internal energy is an extensive property. कैसी होती है ये? This is an extensive property. That is, it depends on the mass. It depends on the quantity of matter. Why? जितना ज़्यादा matter आपके पास होगा, the more matter you have, the more number of particles you will have, and as a result, more amount of energy will be associated with those particles. So you can say that internal energy, very first thing, that it is a state function. If you talk about internal energy, then very first thing is that it is a state function. And number second, that it is an extensive property. That is, it depends on the quantity of matter, or you can say that it depends on the mass, right? जितना ज़्यादा mass होगा उतनी ज़्यादा internal energy होगी. Correct, guys? I believe that there is no doubt till now. Okay, U से define करते हैं, this we know. Okay, so internal energy of a system is defined as U. This internal energy may be electrical, chemical or mechanical. Electrical, chemical or mechanical. The internal energy U of the system, which may change when heat passes into or out of the system, work is done on the system, or work is done by the system. We will understand like what is the meaning of these terms. Matter enters or leaves the system. Again, mass पे depend करती है. That is why extensive property. So please write the definition of internal energy. So I can say that every system, having some quantity of matter, having some quantity of matter is associated with a definite amount of energy. Is associated with a definite amount of energy. Definite amount of energy. And उसी एनर्जी को आप क्या कहते हो? You call it as internal energy. What do you call it? You call it as internal energy. Okay. Every system having some quantity of matter is associated with a definite amount of energy. Okay. So that is what is meant by internal energy. And this energy may be electrical, this may be chemical, or this may be mechanical. Okay. I believe that there is no doubt till now, because we did some basic stuff. Okay. We did some basic stuff. Okay. Now if we talk about some characteristics of internal energy, let's move on to the next. Here we were. If I want to tell you about characteristics of internal energy, let's discuss characteristics of internal energy. Characteristics of internal energy. Characteristics of internal energy. Okay, if that is something we want to discuss, what is so special about your internal energy? Okay, that's what we will be doing. So very first thing is that number one, let me change. Yeah. So I can say that first of all, that your internal energy of the system is an extensive property. This is an extensive property. And number two, what can I say? Extensive property here, that is, it depends on mass. I already told you, जितना ज़्यादा mass होगा उतने ज़्यादा particles होंगे, and the more energy will be associated with it. So it is an extensive property. Number two, it is a state function. We discussed it is a state function. That is, it only depends on the initial state of the system and final state of the system. Third thing, we already discussed that the value of change in internal energy is in case of a cyclic process. In case of a cyclic process is 0. There is no change in internal energy in case of cyclic processes. Because why? Finally वो उसी state में आ गया है system, तो जो भी उसका pressure, volume और number of moles थे, now they are again same. So there is no change in internal energy. So you say that delta U of the system in case of cyclic processes is 0, right? चौथी चीज about internal energy is that your internal energy is only a function of temperature. So you will say that internal energy is directly proportional to temperature only. ठीक है? You say that internal energy of an ideal gas, I would say internal energy of an ideal gas is a function of temperature only. This was your fourth property. Number fifth characteristic of your internal energy. So internal energy of the system, internal energy of the system किस किस चीज पे डिपेंड करती है? It depends on internal energy of the system depends on quantity of the substance. देखा अभी हमने, that is why it is the extensive property. It depends on quantity of the system. Quantity of the system उसकी chemical nature पे depend करती है. Its chemical nature, temperature, pressure and volume. ठीक है, these are the characteristics of internal energy. Number 6 हम लोग क्या बोल सकते हैं? What unit do you use for internal energy? If we talk about unit used, so energy है, you will use joules. Usually what will you use? Joules. ठीक है. Number 7, we always discuss the change in internal energy. हम हमेशा किसके बारे में बात करते हैं? Change in internal energy के बारे में. We will always talk about the change in internal energy, that is delta U, because absolute value पता करना इंटरनल एनर्जी की ना तो पॉसिबल है और ना ही नेसेसरी है. सो यू कैन से दैट इट इज नीदर पॉसिबल नॉर नेसेसरी. इट इज नीदर पॉसिबल, it is neither possible nor necessary. It is neither possible nor necessary to you can say to calculate the value of internal energy. ठीक है. And again you know already that delta U is U final minus U initial. Correct है? So that's what you know about characteristics of internal energy. ठीक है बच्चा पार्टी. Here are some features of Unacademy subscription you can see, and you know already that there is an outbreak of COVID again, so you can learn live from the comfort of your home with the top educators of India. And once you get enrolled, you will have unlimited access to all the courses which are available. And there are like regular doubt solving sessions, and you only know that already that we only cover 100% of the syllabus on plus only. So we are here for our mentorship, for our guidance. We are here for you. The study material is provided to you in the PDF format. Apart from it, there are live test series, practice test series, daily practice sessions and whatnot. So it will be very useful for you. And you know already that these 3 offers are going on. If you subscribe for class 9, you will get class 10, 11 and 12 subscription for free. If you subscribe for class 10, you will get class 11 and 12 subscription for free. If you subscribe for class 11, you will get class 12 subscription for free, correct? And again, if you use my code, that is Kirti S Live, you will get an additional 10% off. So there are 3 deals which are going on. So go and grab it right now, because these are only valid till 31st of January. Okay. So again, you can take these you can take the advantage of these deals. Now, these are the existing batches. You know already, Param batch, Champion batch, and you know already these are the existing batches. You already know how to watch a special class, right? and you guys are smart enough. I know this. Even like if you have a doubt, you can just reach out to me. Here I have given my username, that is Kirti underscore Sharma. Please note that this is an underscore, this is not a dash. So it is Kirti underscore Sharma 1223. This is my username, and this is my code. So you can use these if like you want to get plus subscription, and you can follow me on Unacademy Messenger or Telegram, and let me know if you have any doubt. We'll get it sorted. Okay, and that is it for the day. See you in the next session. Bye, bacha party. Right now, let's check again. Even now I'm not live. I changed